All right, Vikings fans, can we talk about something that honestly doesn't make much sense? This defense has been shutting teams down for the last 2 seasons. Every week we hear people praising how tough, aggressive, and well-coached Minnesota is. But then one ranking comes out, and suddenly it's like nobody on this defense actually exists. Seriously, how can one of the NFL's best defenses have almost no players getting recognized? Are the Vikings really being overlooked? Or is everyone giving all the credit to the coach while forgetting the guys making the plays on the field? Today we're breaking down exactly why these rankings have so many fans frustrated, which Vikings defenders deserved a lot more respect, and whether Minnesota might be the most underrated defense in the entire NFL heading into this season. But before we get started, if you believe this Vikings team is ready to prove people wrong, hit that like button. And let me know down in the comments by dropping a big SKOL if you think the Vikings defense deserves way more respect this year. Let's see how many true Vikings fans are watching. Something about this Minnesota Vikings defense still isn't adding up, and the more you look at it, the more surprising it becomes. How can a unit that has consistently ranked among the NFL's elite continue to receive so little individual recognition? That's the question surrounding the Vikings right now after ESPN released its annual rankings based on votes from NFL executives, coaches, and scouts. Across every major defensive position group, edge rushers, defensive tackles, linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties, the Vikings were almost completely absent. In fact, only one Minnesota defender managed to receive a single vote, and that was Byron Murphy Jr. For a defense that has spent the last 2 seasons firmly among the league's best, that level of recognition feels remarkably low. The numbers make this even harder to explain. Minnesota finished among the NFL's top defenses over the past 2 seasons, ranking third in EPA per play last season after finishing second the year before. The defense also remained inside the league's top 6 in success rate during both seasons while consistently finishing among the top 7 in points allowed per game. Those aren't isolated flashes of greatness. They represent sustained excellence across multiple statistical categories, proving that this has become one of the NFL's most reliable defensive units. Naturally, much of that success has been credited to defensive coordinator Brian Flores. There is little debate that Flores deserves enormous praise for transforming this defense into one of football's toughest groups. The impression created by these rankings, however, is that Flores deserves almost all of the credit, while the players executing his system receive very little. That interpretation raises an interesting debate. Flores has undoubtedly elevated the unit, but great coaching alone doesn't produce elite defensive performances week after week. Players still have to execute every assignment, communicate before the snap, win individual matchups, and consistently perform at a high level. The biggest surprise may come from the edge rusher rankings. The list featured names such as Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, Will Anderson Jr., Max Crosby, Aiden Hutchinson, Danielle Hunter, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, Brian Burns, and Nick Bonitto. Whether fans agree with every placement is one thing, but what stands out is who didn't even receive recognition. Andrew Van Ginkel wasn't included in the top 10, didn't receive a vote, and wasn't even listed among the honorable mentions. That omission becomes difficult to justify when considering his production over the last 2 seasons. Van Ginkel has become one of the most versatile defenders in Brian Flores' scheme, contributing in ways that extend well beyond traditional pass rushing. While he isn't a classic defensive end, lining up with his hand in the dirt every snap, his impact shows up throughout the defense. His 2024 season was historic. He recorded 12 sacks, while also producing more than 15 tackles for loss and adding 2 interception returns for touchdowns, becoming the first player in NFL history to reach those marks in a single season. His pass rush win rate consistently remained above league average, and even during the following season, despite dealing with a neck injury that limited him to only 10 games, he still finished with 8 sacks and 11 tackles for loss. Those numbers alone would normally place a defender firmly in conversations among the league's best. But statistics only tell part of the story. Van Ginkel's influence reaches every level of Minnesota's defense. Opposing offenses are forced to account for him before the snap because of his ability to diagnose screen passes, disrupt running lanes, and create turnovers in unexpected situations. His instincts have become such a threat that offenses often hesitate to attack his side of the field with screens, fearing he will read the play and turn it into another game-changing takeaway. Perhaps the strongest argument in his favor comes from what happened whenever he wasn't available. During stretches when Van Ginkel missed time, Minnesota's defense simply wasn't the same. Several opponents found far greater success moving the football, exposing how valuable his presence truly is within Flores' system. His absence highlighted something statistics don't always capture. He serves as one of the emotional and tactical anchors of the entire defense. His versatility allows Flores to disguise coverages, create pressure from multiple angles, and maintain the unpredictability that has become a trademark of this Vikings defense. The discussion then shifts to the cornerback rankings, where Byron Murphy Jr. became the lone Vikings defender to receive even a single vote. The top 10 included Patrick Surtain II, Derek Stingley Jr., a Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, Trent McDuffie, Quinion Mitchell, Denzel Ward, J.C. Horn, Sauce Gardner, and Cooper DeJean. Overall, the list appears competitive, but Murphy's limited recognition still raises questions, considering his steady production over the last 2 seasons. Murphy has developed into one of the defense's most dependable pieces because of his versatility. He has demonstrated the ability to play both inside and outside while adapting to multiple responsibilities within Flores' aggressive scheme. Even if one argues he doesn't belong firmly inside the league's top 10 cornerbacks, receiving only a single vote seems inconsistent with the level of play he has displayed throughout this defensive resurgence. As the conversation continues, one larger theme begins to emerge. Maybe the NFL isn't questioning Minnesota's defensive production at all. Maybe league evaluators simply believe Brian Flores deserves the overwhelming majority of the credit. But if that's truly the case, it creates another fascinating question. Can one coach alone produce a top 5 defense year after year, without high-level performers executing every detail on the field? The Vikings' recent success suggests the answer may be far more complicated than these rankings indicate. The same debate continues when the focus shifts to the linebacker position. Once again, the Vikings were left without a representative in ESPN's top 10, despite Blake Cashman playing a critical role in one of the league's most productive defenses. The rankings featured names like Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, Carson Schwessinger, Zach Bond, and Jack Campbell, while Cashman was left completely off the list. What makes that omission stand out is not just Cashman's individual production, but the role he plays within Brian Flores' defensive system. He may not generate the headlines that come with sacks or interceptions, yet his responsibilities go far beyond the stat sheet. Flores is known for disguising coverages before the snap, forcing offenses to adjust, but once communication between quarterbacks and coaches is cut off, it is Cashman who makes the final defensive adjustments on the field. That level of trust speaks volumes about his football intelligence and leadership. His importance became even more obvious whenever he wasn't available. During those stretches, Minnesota's run defense took a noticeable step backward, while opposing tight ends found far more success attacking the middle of the field. Those changes weren't coincidences. They demonstrated just how valuable Cashman is as the player responsible for organizing the defense and ensuring everyone is in the correct position before the snap. the discussion doesn't end there. At defensive tackle, Jalen Redmond also failed to receive meaningful recognition despite emerging as one of Minnesota's most impactful defenders. After taking an unconventional path that included time outside the NFL, Redmond earned his opportunity and made the most of it. According to the discussion in the transcript, even opposing coaches viewed him as one of the toughest players on Minnesota's defense because of his ability to disrupt both the running game and the pass rush. When all these individual cases are viewed together, a clear pattern begins to appear. Brian Flores absolutely deserves enormous credit for building one of the NFL's premier defenses, but this unit has not reached that level through coaching alone. Players like Andrew Van Ginkel, Blake Cashman, Byron Murphy Jr., and Jalen Redmond have consistently executed at a high level, and their contributions appear to be receiving far less recognition than their performances deserve. What do you think, Vikings fans? Is the NFL seriously undervaluing Minnesota's defensive talent, or are these rankings justified? Leave your opinion in the comments and let everyone know which Vikings defender deserves far more respect heading into the new season. Go Vikings!